Welcome to our world-renowned podcast, Invest in Her. I'm your host, Catherine Gray. I'm a TEDx and keynote speaker and author. Also, I'm executive producer of the movie Show Her the Money. Plus, founder of She Angel Investors and co-founder of the She Angels Foundation. Our weekly show features interviews with powerhouse women founders, funders, and change makers that are sure to inspire you. Let's go. Welcome to this week's episode of Invest in Her. I'm your host, Catherine Gray, founder of She Angel Investors and co-founder of the She Angels Foundation. And as you know, executive producer of the show, the movie, Show Her the Money. And we are so excited today. As always, we have an incredible guest in the venture space, women who are so dynamic in this arena. Today is no different. Coming to us from Hong Kong and usually from Calgary, but world traveler here is Judyanna Yu, who is the founder and general partner at 168 Ventures. Judyanna, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Catherine. Very happy to
Yeah,
be here.
and I understand that you're in Hong Kong and it's 2 a.m. You are a trooper, girl.
It is. I didn't want to reschedule. I was really looking forward to this podcast, so we're going to do it.
There you go. So everybody, straight from Hong Kong, we've got Judiana here today, and she has such an incredible story that we're going to share today about how she got into venture capital. And by the way, I meant to say, I know you're usually based in Calgary, and I have been to Calgary because I went there on my way to one of the most beautiful places in the world to me, which is Banff and Lake Louise. So I know you live close to that. I think it's like one of the nine wonders of the world, right?
Thanks for the shout out for Calgary and for Banff. That's one of the reasons why I moved back to Calgary. So I was born and raised in Calgary. I left 25 years ago.
Wow.
And after having, worked and lived in 8 different cities, my partner and I decided to, move to our next city, and we took a vacation to decide. And it was Calgary because of the mountains. But since moving back, we have not been to the mountains very much, but it's
Because
now we're
you're
dry.
working too much, right? Well, and I think that's a good way to find where you're going to live. Go somewhere, try it out, and if it resonates with you, right? You get that feeling like, oh, I belong here, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, I know you specialize in a very important niche, and so we're going to talk about that because, your background, 20 years as a CFO, which you don't look like you've been doing anything for 20 years, but but you have, and for 20 years you've been a CFO for, let's see, biotech and medtech companies. So it makes sense with that area of expertise that your 168 Ventures is very focused on that arena. Is that right?
That's right. And it's really the experience and it's the area that really interests me, but it's also the people that I encountered in my life, in my career, that kind of, I saw the pieces of the puzzle and I thought, at this age and time and stage in my career, like what can I do that's meaningful, exciting, that can have a long lasting impact? And it was, raise a fund and filling a big gap that I saw in Canada for early stage medtech.
As we've taken our film around the country, Show Her the Money, which of course addresses that we only get 2% of venture capital as women, and how we need to fix that. One of the things I always talk about is one of the things that's going to be major in fixing it is more women starting their own funds. And no easy task, right? I'm sure you can, address that issue. But I love that after all these years in this niche, you thought, I want to start a fund and raise money for people that are creating, these new med tech innovations, right? And it's very exciting to be in this space, isn't it?
It is, and it's not like there are many good funds around Canada. Many focuses on life sciences, therapeutics, there's medtech funds, but nothing's easy. And being a founder and being a startup is also not easy. I can't imagine what they go through. I see what I go through, but for them, they're managing a team. they're developing a technology, they're trying to figure out, with a team behind them, how to make it work. So, kudos for everyone who's in this space and trying to do something good.
Yeah. What are some of the most interesting things you've seen lately?
Being in Canada, we're a Canadian fund and we want to invest mostly in Canadian companies because we saw the opportunity. But that's not to say we only invest in Canadian companies. We do invest in other companies and we're looking at a few in US. We looked at a few in Singapore and other places. But what we saw in Canada are first-in-class technologies. So these founders, many of them came from universities and they're developing, very novel technologies that's first in class. So one of the companies we invested in recently is called Fluid Biomed. They are developing the world's first hybrid polymer brain stent for brain aneurysm. And that's, to me, very impressive because when I moved back to Canada and I was raising funds for a US biopharma company, we didn't consider Canadian investors. And then that's because life sciences isn't typically an area that's known in Canada. But then if you look closely, there are many wonderful founders and companies developing interesting things like the world first and breakthrough technology. So it's really exciting to be in this space to see some of the things that are being developed here in my own country.
I love that. So you kind of saw that Canada was overlooked in that niche, and you're taking advantage of that and helping investors to capitalize on that.
It is, and it's the right timing, it's the right stage. Everything just seems to fit now because if I didn't go out and did everything that I did and worked in different countries on a global basis and the deals that I've done, I don't think I would have the courage to come back and do something like this. Like, it's really the experience that I have, and I saw that I can do something good and bring more confidence in this space for investors to get involved. And so that includes structuring the fund and our thesis in a way that makes sense. And also the educational piece to show investors that it's not an unknown area. We're not throwing money into the abyss. It's really well thought through. It's backed by stats. It's backed by trends. It's backed by, a lot of conversations, and it's backed by a very strong team of very diverse individuals with different modality and different walks of life that is, deeply ingrained in life sciences.
Yeah, that was my other question. So you invest in an array of types of founders.
I do, yeah. So all types, and we focus on companies that are developing technologies in three verticals, more or less. One is AI and medtech. The other is surgical tools, surgical robotics, remote patient monitoring. These are the areas that we like to focus in because we saw that these are the areas that are growing rapidly in the next few years. So we want to capitalize on that.
Right, right. That makes sense. Now, you have traveled to I was reading here, like five key international areas. And so you have like this global network. And I know within 18 months, you did some phenomenal work by building that global network. Tell us a little bit more about that, what you did.
With the fund, it is, first of all, the team is quite global. I'm based here in Calgary, and I have team members in Toronto, in Vancouver, in Edmonton. I'm based in Calgary. We also have members in US, in North Carolina, in Boston, and then in Singapore, in Shanghai, in Hong Kong right now. And these are key areas for life sciences. So when we're looking at companies and we're assessing deals, we also like to connect with other key partners around the world. One, to assess and understand what are individuals building in those countries, but also, for portfolio companies that we invest in, is there an opportunity for them to expand into other parts and work with partners, whether it's distribution partners or acquisition partners? So I think that globalization is a key theme to our fund, which is a really important piece as well.
Absolutely. And I realize it's actually a global network of 8 cities around the world. And they say your net work is your net worth, right? And so it's so important to, I think, align with a fund like yours where you have that global reach of people. And I think that's amazing. And I think that's what's going to be will weigh into the success of your fund. Your tremendous 20-year background in this arena, plus your global network. I mean, all of these things are super important. So, what made you decide to start your own fund? And I have a question. Why is it called 168?
Right. Good question. Uh, I decided to start this fund really because you get to a point where you want to do something that you're really passionate about. And it's very natural for us to gravitate towards things that we think we're good at. And so I've been a CFO for venture capital backed biotech and medtech companies now for some years. And fundraising is a hard task, but I actually and secretly love fundraising. So as a CFO for public companies and private companies, I love roadshows. It's hard, but I love, traveling, meeting, promoting the company. And I really believe in the companies that I work for. And regardless of the market, regardless of the company and what product or asset that we're promoting and raising funds for, we always raise, but it's just a matter of time. So there's a process in place. It's a strategy of finding the right investors for you to back whatever your mission and what you're trying to target that you're trying to hit. So I do like to fundraise, and after raising, a large amount for life sciences, raising a fund to me is meaningful because I can fill a gap that I see, which is early stage medtech, which is overlooked now in Canada. But
And
also
do you have some sort of number of how much you've helped raise?
close to 250 million over a span of 6 years. These
Wow.
are debt, equity, government grants. So yeah, it's a good amount.
That's amazing. That is amazing. What are some I mean, you're in this space with these tremendous breakthroughs. I mean, for me, isn't that what makes it so exciting, to be in that arena that you get to see the innovations coming down the pike? And so you're out there raising funding for people to get behind these innovations, right? Um, and I could see how that would be very exhilarating. So, what's next for you? Like, what's on your plate? And by the way, how big is the fund that you're raising right now? Are you allowed to say, and what a minimum is?
We are doing a proof of concept fund. This is a first time fund, which is unique in its own way. First time funds are precious because there's only one first time fund. And historically, first time funds perform in top quartile returns, so better than fund two, fund three. And I think that's because, fund managers are super focused on their first fund, and they have their first set of companies that they're supporting. And by the time you're fund two, fund three, you have a much larger team, larger operations, more companies to support. So this is fund one. I won't mention the amount, but it is a proof of concept. So it's not more than 10 million. So it's a limited opportunity to participate in something like this. Um, so that's kind of where we're at right now. We're actively deploying, but also actively building out our fund. We have a very strong team of 11 members across, I mentioned, across the world. So that's what we're doing, like really laser focus and finding the right companies to back. And you're right, it's an exciting space because medtech is an area that touches all of us. Like we all go through the healthcare system, we see the inefficiencies, and to be able to see what's next, technologies that are being developed to address these inefficiencies. It's great because, there's hope that one day things would be much better.
And these are solutions for not just Canada, but for their global solutions.
Exactly. And these first in class technologies and companies and next gen technologies are being developed. It is for the world. And that's why we have a global team, is because we're helping these Canadian companies, but really connecting them with global partners because they can't just be in Canada. That won't be a very good investment. It has to be able to, expand and be able to, commercialize around the world.
Yeah. I mean, and this is what I love about venture capital is here you've got people like you that have 20 years experience in this space, vetting it for them, and they get to participate in that by, when they invest in your venture fund, they're investing in a multitude of portfolio companies that you're vetting and deciding to invest in. So this is an exciting niche. And if people don't know about it or understand it, but think, yeah, I'd love to champion this. This is something that, you want to make an impact in this arena, then how do they get in touch with you?
They can reach out through LinkedIn. They can look at our website. There's a lot of our contact information. And we'll love to share more about what we're building, what it's about, explain what venture capital investing is if they haven't been, if they haven't invested in a VC fund before. So we'll love to kind of share and connect on that.
Great. And what is your website?
Oh gosh, it's 168 Ventures. So it's all spelled out in words except for the letter 8 is,
Right.
letter 8, which is a symbol of infinity. So you did mention and ask what 168 means.
Yes.
And it means value creation in the Cantonese culture. So each of those numbers has a meaning. One, it's one six is a continuous road and journey, and 8 is always prosperity and valuation. So it is building something of value, which is important for VC fund, but 1688 is a symbol of infinity. So it is building something that's everlasting.
Yeah, I know other cultures, the number 8 is also very lucky. And so it's interesting. It's not just one culture, it's many cultures. So that's a good omen. So it for everybody listening, it is one spelled out, O-N-E, then six, S-I-X, and then the number 8. And 168, is it ventures.com?
That's right, ventures.com.
Okay, great. And then you can find Juliana on LinkedIn, Judyanna, Judiana, and then YU. Of course, I'm also on LinkedIn. People sometimes are just listening in and not watching us, so they don't see how to spell our names. But it's Catherine with a C and Gray with an A. We too have a couple of websites. So we have sheangelinvestors.com. And we also have showherthemoneymovie.com. Judiana, have you seen our movie?
I've seen clips of it and I'm excited to watch it.
Yes, yes, it's a championing women exactly like you that are breaking down the mold here in the venture capital world, where we didn't used to have many women founders that were creating funds, but now there's an acceleration of that, which will hopefully very soon start to move that 2% needle. We definitely need more women looking at women-founded funds to invest in other women entrepreneurs. They have a better return. And so it's something exciting to step into, right? You get to learn about all the new innovations. And with this particular fund and with Judiana, you get to hear what are the medtech, what are the life sciences innovations coming down the pipe with regard to your healthcare and things in that arena. So how exciting is that? I think that's a really cool niche that you're in.
I enjoy it. It's great.
So I think we're going to let her go to bed. It's 2 a.m. in Hong Kong. And thank you all for tuning in. Let's make it a great week and appreciate the interview, Judiana. Thanks for all the great work you're doing.
Thank you, Catherine, and you as well.